Hey guys, CBI Prinsu here today with another install video. Today what we're going to be focusing on is the second gen Toyota Sequoia OG roof rack. So let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so before we get started, let's do a little double check and make sure that we actually have everything here. You're going to want to check and make sure that we have all of our hardware here. And you're going to want to make sure that all of your components came in the package, including your crossbars, your side rails, your wind deflector up front, your noise reducing trim. That's pretty much it. For the tools that you're probably going to need for this install, we like to use this little electric ratchet here that helps pretty good. You can use hand tools too, but we always have a 5/32 Allen key. And for this one, I'm going to be using a 10mm socket. Okay guys, so let's get started actually putting the roof rack together. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take these 1-inch long 1/4-20 screws and we're going to fasten these side rails to our crossbar. So let's start that now. Before we get started though, what you're going to want to do with all these screws is you're going to want to touch them up with a little bit of this Vibratite. That way your roof rack doesn't rattle loose or anything like that. So what we're going to do real quick is we're going to hit all these screws with this Vibratite and then we're going to assemble the roof rack. Let's do it. Alrighty guys, so as you can tell, the side rail is going to be split right here. You are going to have a joining piece that's going to hook these together. That's going to be this piece here. So before we go over and finish putting together that side, you're going to want to take this joining piece, slap it to the back side of the rack. As you can see, it has 4 holes. Those 4 holes are going to correspond with these 4 holes here in the middle of the side rail. So just go ahead and assemble that all together with those same screws. Alrighty guys, now that we have the main body of the roof rack assembled, what we're going to focus on here is the wind deflector assembly. So some of the things that you're going to need, you're going to have in your kit. You're going to have the main wind deflector piece. You're going to have your noise reducing trim. You're going to have a corresponding clear coated crossbar. And you're going to have your hardware kit. Now let's talk about how we're going to fasten this all together. Alrighty guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to fasten this all together. So inside of your hardware kit here, you're going to have a whole bunch of 1/2-inch long 1/4-20 screws with corresponding washers, and you're going to have a lot of these sliding T-nuts. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bunch of these T-nuts, we're going to slide them in these tracks here until they line up with the corresponding holes on the wind deflector. So let's do that right now. For this roof rack, you're going to need 10 of these T-nuts, 5 in each track. Then usually what I like to do, so I like to grab my 5/32 Allen. Again, it helps you kind of slide those T-nuts. We're going to start positioning them right now. A little pro tip here, guys. Make sure that the raised portion of the threads on this T-nut are sticking up. That way your screws can grab onto it a lot easier when you're trying to thread that wind deflector piece on. It makes it a lot easier. Okay, and then more or less when they're lined up, this is when you're going to take your 1/2-inch long 1/4-20 screw and your washers, and you're going to want to start threading those into those little screws. Do not cinch them down all the way right out of the gate, because you're going to want to make sure that the side of the wind deflector is aligned with the side of the crossbar that's underneath. Okay, now that we have all of our screws started in the wind deflector, now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to slide around and make sure that the edge of the wind deflector is aligned with the crossbar. So once you get that right, then you can start cinching them down. Okay guys, now that the crossbar and the wind deflector are completely assembled together, now what we're going to do is we're going to take our noise reducing trim, we're going to apply that to the bottom edge of this blade here. So what we're going to want to do, we'll move these real quick out of our way. You're going to want to make sure that this flat hard portion is sticking to the outside and that the round rubber portion is on the inside. So what you're going to do, you're going to take this inner track and you're just going to mold that to this edge of this this wind deflector here. So we'll do that starting with the edge. And then once you're sure that that's all the way applied and all the way stuck down across the wind deflector, you're going to have a little bit sticking out. So you're going to want to trim that piece off. You can use pretty much anything, a knife, scissors, even tin snips work. So let's do that real quick. Let's cut those off. Alrighty guys, now that we have the wind deflector assembly done, what we're going to do is we're going to fasten it to our roof rack here. So same thing, you're going to take these 1-inch long quarter 20 screws and we're going to thread those into those threaded portions on the inside of our crossbar here. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, so for this next portion of the video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about prepping your mounting feet locations. On the top of the 2nd gen Toyota Sequoia, there are going to be factory mounting holes for you provided. So what we're going to do here, there were factory rails on top of this vehicle, but there was already one of our roof racks on it, so we can't show you right here how to take off those factory rails. However, they're super easy. Pop off some plastic covers, remove the factory bolts, and everything's exposed. So now that we're here, now that we have our 2 threaded mounting holes, you're going to have a set of 6 on each side of the vehicle, and there's going to be some extra holes that we've plugged up here with a waterproof sealing tape. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take these 1/2-inch aluminum spacers and these EPDM washers. Alright guys, so for this next portion, we're actually going to prep our spacer and our washer with some of the black silicone that will be provided in your kit. And what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're just going to put a decent amount of silicone inside of the opening of the spacer. You can also put some on the bottom surface as well. Make sure you apply a decent amount like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your washer, apply it to the bottom. Got a little bit, decent amount there. And then you're going to just take it and set it over your hole like so. And then we're going to repeat that with the rest of them all over the top of the roof. So let's do that real quick. Alrighty guys, now that we have the roof rack completely assembled and we have all of our mounting holes prepped and ready to go with spacers, we're actually going to take the roof rack, we're going to lift it onto the vehicle now. Make sure you always have a group of friends to help you do it, that way you don't scratch or hurt the vehicle in any way. Let's get it on the vehicle. Alrighty guys, now we're going to take these M6 by 30 millimeter bolts. We're going to run them down through our mounting foot into those factory threaded holes. And then we're going to cinch them down. Not all the way though, because you'll want to be able to adjust the roof rack just right to get it centered. So start threading it down a little bit, back it back out a little bit if necessary. Okay. And then you're going to want to do that with the rest of the 11 spots on the roof rack. Now that we have all those screws started in there, you're going to want to make sure that the roof rack is going to be centered on the vehicle. For that, you can use your washers and the amount of gaps in the slots that you have on both sides. So just make sure it's even on both sides, and then you can just start cinching everything down, and your roof rack will be centered. That wraps up the installation for the OG roof rack on the 2nd gen Toyota Sequoia. As always guys, if you have any sort of questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our customer service email, and we're also going to have an installation guide ready to go for you guys on our website that you can refer to. Thanks again guys for watching, we really appreciate it. We'll see you guys on the trails.